Welcome everyone to our Yin Yang Yoga practice this morning. My name is Helena, I'm from Infine Feather Yoga, and I'll be here to guide you through. And I'd like you to begin in any comfortable position. And maybe for you today that's sitting upright, trying to find some length and lift in your spine. Perhaps it's coming to lie on the back in a grounded position, maybe where the chest and heart are opening, arms are stretching out, you're taking up some space. So look inwards right now and take a moment just to determine what maybe best serves your body. And then once you get into that position, do whatever movement you might need to really settle in, just to drop into the body and land on your mat. When you're ready, the eyes will close. Create some space for a cleansing breath. Inhale deeply through your nose. And then open up your mouth and sigh your breath out. And going again, inhale deeply, filling up to the top. And then open up your mouth and sigh your breath. And if you can, start to bring awareness to your inhale and exhale. Simply observe it. Don't do anything to change it just yet. Simply notice how you've arrived on your mat this morning. The energy you might be carrying, any tension that might be stored in the body. And as you look inwards and breathe, you might notice that tension is something that feels sticky, a place where you're still holding on. And let go of any muscular effort. And perhaps the breath starts to deepen. And start to picture the top of your body. So whatever is facing the sky or closest to the sky. And then picturing like a warm water droplet, but like a really big warm water droplet dropping on the body. Then slowly moving over the face and the crown of the head. Moving all the way down the front of your body, down the arm bones, down the pelvic bowl, down the legs. And all the way down the back body, down the spine, into your sacrum, into your glutes, into the thighs. And feeling the smoothness of that move over your whole body. And perhaps you've dropped into an ease. Deepen your breath. I'm noticing since you've arrived on your mat, so since you've landed here and now, how you've been able to shift inwards, how our body and mind are adaptable. To shift our attention, to shift our awareness, shift our perspective. And that will be our intention for today's practice. And especially with the constant reminders in front of us right now that we're adapting to every day. Seeing the opportunity in it. connections you've made to yourself over the last few weeks, connections you've maybe made with other people, a new skill, a new hobby, carved out space, even more time for inner reflection, more time to sit in your own silence. Well, there might be some challenge in that. Perhaps there's also growth. This is what the Yin Yang practice is all about, is that we will encourage ourselves to feel both effort and ease, movement and stillness, exploring even sensations in the body of being active and passive, lifted, tall and long, grounded, centered, still. Seeing how the body adapts to each pose, each pace, each position. Being the silent observer of that. Seeing the quality of how adaptable our bodies and minds are. Take 5 more deep breaths. Really start to recruit your inhale breath to bring in a little more of that expansion, a little more of that waking energy to the body. And this is our yang energy, the fire energy, the energy within us that moves and stimulates and circulates and cooks and heats up. And then retain a little bit through your next inhale. Create a lot of space to hold that breath full. Slowly, softly sigh your breath out. Invite in just some smaller movements to your fingers and your toes. Rock your head lightly from side to side. If you're on the back, gradually draw your knees in towards your chest. Move slowly to make your way up into a seated position. Legs will be crossed. Try to shift yourself forward and back. And pull the crown of your head up. Loop the shoulders up towards your ears and then squeeze them down your back. Inhale, loop the shoulders up. Exhale, squeeze the shoulders down your back. Arms sweep high. Breathe in, look towards that space between your thumbs. And then pull your hands down and towards heart center. Go again, breathe in, sweep up. Breathe out, hands into heart center. And then humble your head down and towards your heart. Bring your awareness to the space where your palms connect. And I want you just to sincerely feel your own touch. Feel the space between your palms. Feel the fingertips, the temperature between your hands. Allow for one more breath. Feeling the physical body. And then soften your gaze. Take your hands and bring the knees together. Good. You'll place your hands back behind you. Press into your hands to lift your chest up. And then try to squeeze your shoulder blades together so your chest puffs open. Keep a micro bend in your elbows. Heart stays lifted, lift your heels, lift your toes. Maybe even take the big toe mounds and the heels, press them together, eventually guiding your shins parallel to the earth. Good. Upper arm bones squeeze back. Heart lifts up. Inner awareness to your own body, your own form, your own shape. Feel the engagement through your core. But maintaining a steadiness in your breath. One more inhale. If the feet are lifted, plant them down, but plant them to hip distance. So 2 small fists between your feet. Then be sure you have like your downward dog hands. So space between your fingers. And then your fingers face your toes. Puff your chest up again. Ground into your feet. Lift up your hips. Good. Upper arm bones still squeezing back. The hips might only lift an inch. Be really mindful of what might be happening in your shoulders. If you can keep broad through the collarbones without collapsing into your collarbones, eventually your hips come in line with the knees. Can you still breathe into the abdomen as you press down through your hands and feet and lift your hips up? One more inhale. Slowly release your hips down. Heel toe your feet out a little wider, and let's just drop ourselves between the thighs. Hands can rest on your shins, maybe wrap around the knees. And the moment to observe as you breathe into your back body. Breathe into that space between your shoulder blades. Already even feeling a little bit of engagement through the shoulders. Let's lift ourselves back up. And we'll do that whole set one more time. Hands goes back behind, big toes maybe come to touch. Doesn't hurt to look back at the hands. Keep the micro bend in your elbows. Feet are down, heart is lifted. So really even try to cinch in and up through the waist. Rock your pelvis forward as if you were trying to maybe stick your bum out behind you. And then lift the feet up. Now shins parallel. If you feel really supported here, check in with the breath. Maybe you take the arms away from the earth, but can you keep the torso as it is? Savasana, boat pose. You feel like a drawing in of the front body, but also feel that same lift from the back body. Last breath. Take the feet down to your hip distance. If you've lifted the hands, place them back behind you. Rock forward through the pelvis, so you're trying to encourage that little curve through your lower back. Press through your feet, lift your hips up. Any amount. You're going to try to draw the shoulders away from the ears. Leading with the heart, leading with your chest. If you feel, again, stable, chin can either stay tucked. Be mindful of the neck, the option to drop your head back. An expansive breath into your front body. Tuck the chin, lower your hips, and this time we'll cross at the ankles, pull ourselves through to a tabletop position. Hands and knees, but right away counterbalance that chest opening. Take your cat-like back, round your spine, chin to chest. Maybe your toes are even flipped behind you, and you're sending a little bit of weight back into your feet. Shaking the head out, yes or no. Inhale, soften the belly, lift your gaze forward and up. So the sits bones tip high, chest lengthens. Imagine the crown of your head reaching back to touch your tailbone. And then round, hollow out, chin to chest, heavy head. And go again, inhale, soften down, lifting up. Rounding to hollow, and then if there's any other little wiggles you want to make in between, feel free to make those little wiggles. Doesn't have to be just one-dimensional, can be more fluid. Come to your flat back or neutral spine. You can step your hands forward about a foot and then make your way down onto your belly. Try to find some control so your chest comes down first. You're strengthening the arm bones as you lower. Good, point your toes, inch your toes back. Elbows up towards the sky. Press the pubic bone down so you feel the lower belly draw in and lift up your heart. Keep the neck neutral and try and puff the chest forward. Slowly release down. Take your hips back towards your heels. Rest yourself into a child's pose, maybe palms touching, forehead touching. And I want you to simply notice the engagement the body has already started to stimulate since practice. And knowing that at any point in today's class, if you need to take a moment to slow down, rest, reconnect, especially as we do offer some deeper variations in the yang portion of our practice, come here when you need to. Inhale, slide yourself back forward to table. Toes flip behind you, knees are hip distance. And then slowly start to hover your knees an inch from the earth. Press down firmly through your hands. And then again, starting to stick your bum out back behind you. Press your belly back towards your thighs. And feel that little curve through your lower back. Root through the hands. Start to bring more weight back into your feet. Set up for your first downward facing dog. So if the hamstrings are tight, keep a bend through your knees. Keep your heels lifted. And the intention is to bring more length into the spine in downward dog. And the length in the hamstrings comes over time. Inhale and exhale. Reach your right leg high behind you. Try to straighten out through the back of your knees. Spread all 5 of your right toes. Hug the right knee in towards your chest. Squeeze it in and then flicker step your right foot through. Maybe grab the foot, pull it there. Right away, tented fingers. Right knee on top of ankle. Bring that little lift of upward dog quality to your chest. And then when you're steady, lift your torso. So squaring your hips off to the top edge of your mat. Left hip back, or right hip back, left hip forward, arms sweeping high, crescent lunge. And then let's cactus style the arms down. Palms face forward, spread your fingers wide. And then find that length up through the waistline, lift up, and lean back. Sometimes even popping up a little higher onto your back toes helps to lead the left hip forward so our extension comes from there. And then feel a breath travel through, in and out. Slowly release your hands back to frame your front foot. Step yourself back to downward facing dog. Invite in some movement if the body wants to move. Again, the movement might be a good way to start adapting into the heat building in your practice. Sway your hips side to side. The pose doesn't have to be one-dimensional. It could be a little more organic, a little more intuitive. The left leg moves high behind you. Look under your belly and watch that your left pinky toe faces the earth. So we're squaring through the hips, the thigh faces down, the knee faces down. Then come high onto your right toes as you squeeze and hug your left knee towards your chest. Look at your left thumb and try to flick your foot towards that space. So have your feet set to hip distance rather than being on a tightrope. Tented fingers, upward dog quality to your chest first. That squeezes the back body, stabilizes your spine, and then lift your torso up. And feel the right upper thigh pull forward as the left outer thigh pulls back. The option to extend your arms. Cactus style the arms. Find those little hooks from the armpits and lift you up. hop up onto your back toes a little higher and then lean back. Brighten through the arms. Spread your fingers. Hear the sound of your own breath. Gradually, hands go down, frame your foot. Step back into a high plank position. Shoulders on top of the wrist, point your fingers forward. Even in our plank, a little micro bend or bounce to your elbows, so you're building that muscular energy around the joint. Look past the fingers, breathe in, lower through your push-up, breathe out. Pointed toes, elbows to the sky. Pubic bone presses down, heart lifts up. The option for full upward dog. And think about length through the crown of your head, reaching the crown of your head up, drawing your upper arm bones back, heart forward. Hips move back in space. Flip your toes, downward dog. Second and third toe forward here. So there's like a little bit of an inner spiral of the legs. This time as you take your right leg high behind you, roll your right hip to open. So try to encourage your right heel towards your right bum. Keep a micro bend through your left knee. The option here, maybe playing with it, getting a little less weight into your right fingertips, steady your balance. If it feels like it's available to you, tense your right hand up. Maybe even the right fingertips slowly leave the earth, and one day the right hand catches onto the right hip. Now that's a little more of an advanced expression, just giving you some options this morning. Right hand plants down, right knee to chest, squeeze in, shift forward, flick your foot through. Tented fingers, upward dog quality through the chest, so squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then lift your torso up, crescent lunge. Arms sweep high, inhale for length, exhale, cactus style the arms. From here, sweep your hands back behind you and work to grab on for your wrists, maybe the elbows. One day, interlace the fingertips. If you're almost close to being able to interlace the fingertips, maybe you have a scarf or even a sock, something you can use to finish that space up with the distance between your hands. Stay here, or legs are steady, start to bow forward, belly to thigh. Letting the arms reach away from the body, but keeping them interlaced. Again, the advanced expression if you're feeling steady without your right hip swinging out towards the right side, so keep that upper thigh hugging in. Maybe your right shoulder comes to the inner edge of your right knee to bring the crown of your head a little closer to the earth. Just an option. Lift your torso. Lift your gaze if you've bowed. Let's sweep the arms back up. Get a little bend or bounce through the back knee, and then step yourself all the way up to the top of your mat and catch yourself through both feet. Give everything a little bit of a shake off. Find your mountain pose, Tadasana. Second toe forward. Find the even roots through your feet. Try to create like webbing between your toes. Spread them. Stack your spine up. And allow for an audible breath in through nose, out through your mouth. Invite the body to be open, to adapting, to see the opportunity. Arms reach high, breathe in, get really tall, lengthen. Bow forward, hinge from your hips, belly on thighs, head releases down. Halfway lift, hands to shins, flat back and open heart. Bend your knees enough to take your hands down and step your feet back to plank. Try to roll the eye of your elbow forward. You'll feel it hugs the triceps into the body. Knees can lower. Bring your thighs, chest, belly down together. Slide the thumbs back, lift your heart up, your back bend expression. If you're coming into upward dog, lift off the thighs, lift off your pelvis. Pull yourself back, downward facing dog. Get that sensation of pressing through the hands and tipping from your pelvis, trying to stick your bum up and back behind you. Maybe you feel the sitting bones move a little higher, more length into your hamstrings, backs of your thighs. Then inhale, floating left leg high. Bend your knee, roll the left hip to open. Try to squeeze your heel towards your bum. Then grip more firmly with your right hand, tense your left fingers. And this might be where you stay, and this is great. Or slowly start to release left fingertips from the earth one at a time. Play around with catching your left hip. Left hand plants back down. Left knee hugs to chest, shift forward, rock forward, flick your foot through. Adjusting the base through your feet, pad your fingertips, lift your heart, then come up all the way across the lunge. So watch that you're not collapsing into your back heel. Lift up through the back heel. Imagine right hip drawing forward. Even as you pull the right heel back, sweep the arms up, breathe in. Then taking your hands behind your back in your expression, breathing out. Get a strap or a sock, or even like the sleeve of your arm to complete that distance between the hands. Bow forward. Try not to collapse the chest forward. Keep the front body open. Lead with the heart as you move into this. Head drops. Belly on thigh. Or hug left shoulder to the inside of your left knee. It even moves you a bit deeper into your hips. Try not to let your left bum swing out. Take your time to come up. Sweep your arms high. Drive into your left heel. And then step yourself to the top of your space. Give everything again a little shake off. Then line up your toes. Even weight through them. And we'll move through that sequence one more time. I'm going to give you an offering for a deeper expression, but if you were working at a point right there where you felt pretty challenged, stay there. Try not to compromise the breath too much, moving deeper. Reach the arms up, breathe in. Big dive forward. Let it go, breathe out. Flat back, lifted chest. Reach the crown of your head forward as you bring the weight into your toes. Again, try and stick your bum back behind you. Plant your hands, spread your fingers, feet step back. Then move through on your own pace, high to low push-up. If you'd like to conserve or save, support the energy, go right back to downward dog. We meet there together. Right leg lifts high. Bend the right knee, right heel to right bum. Try and squeeze it in. Play around with, again, tensing your right fingers. Maybe start to lean towards the left side, and then start to visualize that if your right toes cross behind your left and touch down, maybe you can do that. Right toes cross behind left. Working into flip dog, so turn all 10 of your toes towards the back edge of your mat and let your bum come down. The right hand starts to lift. I engage through the legs, press through the left hand, reach up through the right, kind of like a reverse tabletop. The hips will lift up. Feet planted, squeeze your bum, lift your chest, maybe the right arm reaches overhead. So even if you're in that three-legged dog, one more breath. Look to the earth, take both hands down, and then inhale, we all straighten the right leg out. Step the right foot through, grab it, pull it there. Give yourself a moment here to pause and breathe. Righty tracks on top of the ankle. Lift up halfway, lift up all the way. Arms sweep high, Exhale, hands to prayer. Bring some length up through the body and slowly twist towards the right. Try not to let your hands pass heart center, so we're not moving from shoulders. We really want to rotate just from the spine, so the upper arm bones won't move. Return to center. Release your hands, frame your foot. Step back into downward dog. Last set, last side. Open to receive the opportunity to try something new even. Inhale, left leg lifts up. Bend at the knee and roll the hip to open. Now I always encourage students, if they haven't really worked into flip dog before, that even observing, taking a moment just to watch, sometimes is a good learning tool for seeing where the next steps might go. That's okay too. Tented left fingers. Lean into the right side. Imagine where left toes cross behind the right. Turn all 10 of your toes. You need to pivot through the feet. Twirl on the balls of your feet. Let your bum go down to stabilize. This is a lot on the right shoulder, so maybe even just stay here in this reverse table or start to lift the hips. Left arm to the sky. Press down through the right, reach up through the left. Maybe the arm goes overhead. If you flipped yourself around, look down to come back around. The bum goes back down. Pivot on the right toes, lift up through your left. Step your foot through. Bracing yourself here. Inhale, find length in space. Lift the torso, reach your arms. Take your hands to prayer. Draw the shoulder bones up, back, and down. Lengthen through the waistline, twist towards the left. Last cycle of breath. Torso comes back to center. Hands come down to frame your foot. Step back into a plank position, but right away come down onto your knees. Roll through 3 cat-cows. And rocking the weight forward and rocking the weight back. Complete your 3rd round. And soften into a child's pose. Big toes together, rest your hips back, rest your forearms, rest your head. Perhaps even noticing that the heart rate has changed. Tune into that. Feel the rhythm of your heartbeat. Now this is what yang energy is, the reminder that we are alive and vibrant. That our bodies do like to be stimulated, they do like to move. Our bodies also, on the other side of that pendulum, need rest. They need to know the quality of stillness. And perhaps this is where a lot of us are landing right now, is adapting into stillness. The way we began our practice with that water droplet, creating a warm, soothing ease over the body. See if you can let it drop again onto whatever is touching the air, the highest point of it, and let it melt all the way down the body. So even feel the tissue of your skin relax. Then lift your torso up. Come onto the bum. Bring your legs out in front. Where the balls of the feet will touch, your knees will splay out wide. If your knees are really, really high and you find you're collapsing and rounding back, the rocking forward sensation on the pelvis isn't working, a pillow or your bolster, blanket, block might come under the bum and help give you that pelvic tilt forward. So even feeling your lower back, that natural little curve. Hold on to your ankles or your shins, lift the heart up. And then yogi's choice for your fold today, you can either lead with the heart towards your toes. So keep trying to reach your heart forward. Maybe it might feel better on the back body as a counterbalance to some of the chest opening we've done is to round your spine, let the crown of your head release down towards the toes. And we're here for 10 or 12 breaths. Exploring the qualities of yin, to be still and silent. Adapting to letting go. Maybe the letting go starts with turning off the muscular tension, observing where there are sticky parts, and seeing if through mind's eye you can soften those spaces. Sink a little deeper into the position. And watching how it's not coming from a forced space, but created space that you've held for yourself. Lift the gaze up slowly, lift your chest up slowly. Use your hands to bring the knees together. Then give yourself some space back behind you, slide forward. And then that rounded prop you have for yourself at home that's long, again your blanket or towel rolled up, bolster or blocks, take it back behind you. If you haven't had the chance to grab anything, I also know that taking your yoga mat and rolling it up into like a long tube is also another really good tool for supporting the spine. So find your prop up against the back of your body, feet planted. You'll gradually roll yourself down over top of it. So your shoulder blades can maybe melt over it and the arms can stretch out. We're using the elevated prop underneath the body to create more of an opening through the front. Palms face the sky. It increases the sensation of the stretch in your chest if you bring the arms up a little bit more, maybe in line with your shoulders. Then I want you to play around with the position of your legs. You can stretch out straight or knees can stay bent. What feels better on the lower back? And then just for a moment, we'll activate. Spread your fingers wide. Reach the arms out away from the body and then hover your hands an inch from the earth. Feel the engagement. And then drop it all. Soften, empty, let go. And watch the melting sensation come over the body.
It's a supported fish pose. We'll be here for a minute or two.
Take a moment to notice if the body feels really comfortable, really settled, and really relaxed. I want you to know that you can stay where you are and savor this position for a few more minutes. If you would prefer to transition into a more traditional resting pose, Savasana, you can make your way there now by grounding into your feet, supporting yourself, root into the feet to roll onto the right or left side, and push your prop out of the way to roll flat onto your back. Arms stretched out away from the body. Maybe even feeling the sensation of the shoulders drawing back a little further in space, leading more with the heart, breathing more into heart center. Allow yourself this time to rest. And before we go on with the rest of our day, our bodies can absorb and really come to know and hold the qualities of your practice. And my voice will be here to slowly bring you back. Begin to deepen your breath. Observe the rise of your inhale, the soft, slow, fluid letting go of your exhale. And the qualities that we hope to inspire our day are found right in this breath. The way the body adapts to the rise of an inhale, the expansion, the drawing of energy and life into our bodies. And the way the body adapts to release and let this go. As you start to wake the physical form, wiggling fingers and toes, just know that this breath is always available to you whenever you need it. Flutter the eyes, roll out your wrists, whatever feels good to wake the body up. If you are still supported by a prop underneath you, and anchor into the feet, set it off to the side. And over maybe your next 3 or 4 breaths, mindfully bring yourself into seated. You're rolling over to one side and pressing up into both hands. Your prop, again, to help elevate the hips if needed, to bring that pelvic tilt forward. Really lengthen up through the spine. And then just as we began our practice, sealing it, reach the arms high. Pull your hands down through to heart center and really feel the connection of your skin onto your skin. Feel your own sensation of touch. Humble your head down towards your heart so the head and the heart might meet and move from this space somewhere in between the two. It's an honor and a pleasure guiding each of you through this practice. Thank you so much for trusting in me, recognizing the best and highest within us all. Namaste. Thank you so much for a beautiful practice today. Again, the Yin Yang practice was a little bit more advanced, so moving maybe from like our intro to our intermediate. If you have any questions about it, please ask, especially if Flip Dog or Wild Thing is something new that you've done. And to reach out to me directly, you can just send an email to Helena at infinefeatheryoga.com.